board meeting to order. Can we have roll call, please?
Barry?
Here.
Steve?
Here.
Brad? Absent. Corey?
Here.
Shanda?
Here.
And David is absent.
Brad notified me he wouldn't be here. He's out of town.
Okay, move into approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve those when you're comfortable.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the August 16th park board minutes. Is there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Barry?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Bo?
Yes.
And Shanda?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move into the financials.
Financially, we're plugging along pretty good. Couple of quick things to note. Camping revenues, near the back of your packet, before the minutes. Like I said, we had some higher goals than we've had before, and the numbers showed in that 2022 actual number of camping 57,342. That's through the end of August. So, and I've already kind of looked ahead. We'll easily go over 60,000 for the year between all the campsites, once we include Labor Day weekend and all that. So I think we had some lofty goals. You look at 2020 was the biggest year we've had since I've been here, and then looking back a few. And so for us to beat that was pretty good. Two things factor into that. The seasonal campsites at Blacktail is one that kind of adds to that, and then the other, the added sites at Little Egypt. It is, like I said before, we did lose. I did notice our stays are a lot shorter because of the reservation system. Before, if you wanted to site at Little Egypt for Labor Day weekend, you're there a week early, and now you can make your reservation and just take the times you want. So we were less busy during the week a lot this year, but our weekends were more full. And you could say that about all the parks. Really, Coda Ray. I'm really how full that gets on the weekends. And that's Little Egypt down there too. So it's that area that people are going to go down to camp. Not that Blacktail's always busy too. But I think that's good. I think that's good. We're getting people out. I hear there's been some hiccups with our reservation system and a learning process, but overall I hear a lot of good things too. So I think we're heading in the right direction there. Oil revenue continues to be strong. This month it was almost $12,000 that we got, which is back to 2019, which was our monthly average. So that's good. Otherwise, financially, we're going to do some projects here at the end of the year, and maybe buy a couple little pieces of equipment. We do have, but otherwise, we'll make our budget and should be pretty good.
Okay, any other questions for the financials? Okay, new business, Garrison Diversion Grant.
We have grant money coming back in. We applied for the grant for the expansion at Little Egypt, so I expect to receive that money back soon. And then I did also apply for another grant with them. Before we received a grant for the trail around Blacktail, the RTP grant. That's that federal grant that was an 80-20 match. So then I was looking, what else could we apply for this Garrison grant? Garrison grant is they pay 25%, and I applied for to do the trail from the loop down to the beach. It's estimated that would be about $80,000 to get that trail connected and down there. So I applied for $20,000 from Garrison Diversion, just to try to get us a little more money towards building that project. So they have their meeting here coming up soon, and we'll find out. But hopefully we get that $20,000 too. I think either way, it's something we're going to do. And I have talked to some of the people there at Garrison, and they like the idea of, grants are to help out people that don't have money, but they really like the idea of grants that they know are going to get done, because there are a lot of times when people apply for grants and this one's you only get 25%. So all of a sudden we're going to raise this money and we're going to do this. And then a lot of times that doesn't happen. So they do also like the idea that, hey, this project's funded either way, but we want to be a part of it. It's, Williams County puts money into that Garrison grant. It's good to get it back. So that's where we're at with that. Any questions on? And I guess just in grants in general, I mean, we haven't really talked about it in here, but I've kind of, as I've seen them, I've jumped on them, and that's, as long as no one has a problem with that, that's what I'm going to continue to do, especially with all these improvements we're doing. And we know we're going to do these projects. Any money we can bring back to Williams County is better than not. Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, like I said, I'm still excited about that other grant. I love the idea that federal money is coming to Williams County. I think that's great. So that's what I got for there.
Okay, good. Master plan?
I just kind of wrapped up some last minute touches with Candace the end of the last week and the beginning of this week. I would say within the next week or two, you'll have a full printed copy in your mailbox here, and start distributing them out. We just had, like I said, had some last minute things to kind of touch up, and otherwise we're done. I'm expecting one more bill, so I'll put together something so we know final how much we paid, and how that all looked out, how that all worked out as far as how much we paid, and compared to what we said we were, it's just a little less right now.
And that, the final has kind of how we're gonna get it built too.
Yep.
Is right in there.
Yep. Like has a timeline and gives suggestions. I mean, there's some disclaimers too, right? Like, hey, this is close to where it should be, but you really need to do the survey work, or you need to do this. But yep.
That's more what I was talking about. So just so we do it in the right order.
Yeah, right. Yep. They got a good timeline and a good idea of approximate expenses and everything like that, so we can kind of hit the ground running. But it's been really good. Candace is really, really approachable, really easy to work with. Easy, gets back really quick. So it's been good. I'd be very comfortable using them again for this or a similar project.
Like a ski hill?
Like a ski hill, like a winter park, like a winter park.
I'm good at beating dead horses. I don't know if anybody's picked up on this.
Blacktail's going to incorporate as a city?
No. Okay, move into parks update.
Parks update. We're doing a lot of cleaning and finishing up projects right now. Blacktail Dam. We have a couple of our seasonal campsites are lingering through. They were supposed to be out on the 15th, and I think they're all going to be gone before Sunday this week. But I've been talking to them, and they'll be out. All of them. Everyone I've talked to is really happy with what they paid, happy with how everything went, and had a good summer. So I think that's good. We'll of course, I'll reevaluate again next year exactly how we want to do it, but the first 2 years we've done it, it's gone pretty well. Otherwise, at Blacktail, we've been spending a lot of time kind of cleaning up our shop all around it, kind of as the summer went on, we things got here, and here. So the last couple weeks, we've cleaned everything up around and inside the shop, gotten the inside ready for, the cold storage ready for the boats boat rental space we put in there this winter, and just cleaning up, just getting everything clean. I'm really, really impressed with how our parks look. My guys have done a really good job. I take very little credit for that. I've been hearing more and more compliments. Got a call last night from the Scotts up in McGregor, or yesterday got from both father and son, or the Posts. I'm sorry, Scott Post. Both of them had compliments, so that's nice to hear. That just saying more's getting mowed and more things are getting mowed. Everything's just getting nicer and nicer. And so maintenance-wise, that's what we keep doing right now. But we also got some little projects we're finishing up. We got all the playgrounds installed. We're just a little bit short on wood fibers. So we're filling those in. We're starting to cut down trees at Little Egypt this week. We marked all the trees we got to cut down. I think there's 23 of them we're cutting down. Oh, that's off trail though. I guess I was on Blacktail. I think that's all I got for Blacktail. Epping Springbrook Dam, Epping. The last month, it's been more and more. I've had some transients trying to live there. We've had to stay on top of it. A couple tents we've had to put notes on, and a couple of them we've thrown away because no one, you could tell they abandoned them, and they just looked like trash. A couple other ones we put a note on, and all of a sudden they were cleaned up and gone the next day. Had one camper that it's just, once you've done this a little bit, you can tell which campers are maybe looking to live there pretty quick. And we had one camper there that the guy didn't pay, and we had to kind of harass him a little bit, but we got through that. Epping did have the blue-green algae again this year. Didn't seem to be as big of an outbreak. I don't know. I'm not a water quality guy. The last 2 years it was like bad. Like all along every piece of shore, you could see big spots of blue-green algae, like for a month or 6 weeks or longer. This year it wasn't like that, and I don't know why. I have no idea. But this year we got it at the end of July, and it was there, and then so my understanding is we kind of have it. According to the DEQ, we have it the rest of the year once you get it. But then after that, you really didn't see it. So I don't know what that is, but something we're going to deal with. It's been 3 years in a row since I've been here, so something we're going to deal with every year, I would imagine.
Is that just because of the water not enough flow or, stagnant? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it's caused from runoff from agriculture, right? And then, but the problem is, right, stagnant and heat. When that whatever that chemical, whatever that is, when it starts getting stagnant and it starts getting warmer and warmer temperatures, that's where it comes from. Again, not claiming to be a water expert, just what I've learned.
Well, I was just wondering, like, I've seen them a bunch up in Canada mostly, but they like these ponds, and they got it's almost like a, yeah, it's sort of like a kind of, it's a windmill sort of a thing, but it's got a propeller underneath it, and the wind blows, and it just creates
Keeps the water moving.
Yeah, and I don't know, but they're smaller ponds, right? I don't know how many
Right.
you'd need for a dam, but
Yeah, I don't know. I can ask about that though. I know, like, same thing, right? Like even at Spring Lake Park, they don't do it anymore. But when I first moved in here for a long, long time, there were just, if you look past the beach area, they had 2 fountains out there, and they were just floating out in the middle. And the only reason for it was to keep water moving. So something else along those lines. I can look into that. That's and talk to the DEQ people and see what they say. But yeah, otherwise Epping, I think Epping was the part that the reservation system was the biggest struggle. A lot of the most people that just showed up to just camp, and a lot of people that have just we've done this for 20 years, and so we didn't know. But I think that was the one that was kind of the biggest struggle, combined with people trying to live there a little bit. Otherwise, if you haven't been there, Carter and Terry and Greg and have done a really nice job of reworking that whole shore. If you start to the right of the beach, we moved the fishing pier. We cleaned up all, cleaned up all it was kind of a gross, mucky area, kind of dug a lot of that out, cleaned it up, added new dirt, added sand, added a bunch of rock, and we've kind of worked our way all around that beach to improve that all the way down to the boat landing. So that whole area just looks nicer. But otherwise, I think Epping's good. I mean, we haven't had anything else. That blue-green algae is kind of an issue, and homeless people or people trying to live there, but we've gotten through it. Little Egypt, we've had a few of our spigots that have in the original spigots that have one by one keep breaking. There's seals that go bad and different things, or hydrants. I'm sorry, not spigots. So I've got pricing from Broughton Plumbing to replace all of them. It's $4,000 to replace 14 spigots. We've already got 5 that we need to for sure, like for sure. A couple of them we have shut off. Last couple of weeks of the season here, we've had sites 4, 5, and 6 closed because they didn't have water. So we got that we're gonna go through and redo those. And then at the same time, he's gonna blow the system and do all that. Otherwise, and cutting trees. I mentioned we're gonna start cutting trees to start making all of those sites, all those sites pull through. All the ones on top, and the 4 down below are what they are by the camp host. But all of the other 17 sites, we're gonna make them all pull through. I think we have 4 right now, but we're gonna cut down 23 trees, and then start leveling that area off where they were. I can tell you right now, the 4 pull-through sites we have at Little Egypt were the 4 most popular sites we had. We had multiple people that those were the only sites they wanted. So we gotta keep working towards that. It's just a lot nicer. Plus that other idea of once we remove those trees and make them pull through, we can kind of park people a little bit higher up to get rid of that slope right there. So we're starting to cut down trees and work on that. I did hear back from, I don't know how Beth and they hear back from the Corps, but we have to do our annual management plan, has to be done by, is it March 31st? And then I don't really know how it's supposed to work because they don't even get back to you until July or so to say, yep, everything looks good. And then actually just last week, I got an email from them giving my report that the official that it looks good. So I don't know how you're really supposed to get anything done without just going after it. But we did a little bit go after it, so we're good. Yeah, they came on a Monday. Their only complaints were that there was garbage in the fire rings. They were there first thing Monday morning. There were garbage in the fire pits, and or the fire pits were kind of full. And there was a tent that had blown into a fence and was there, and they were there on Monday morning. So I felt like I can deal with those if those are our only issues. Lookout Park, I've played phone tag with George a little bit, and I haven't gone up to see him, but he knows that I want to see him, and he wants to see me. McGregor Dam, my guys were up there last week working quite a bit. We finished up swing sets and really cleaned up that road on the north side there. We had some trees coming in. Also, again, like I mentioned, I've been talking to the posts a little bit. They've got they've got some younger kids there now or something, and they've been kind of complaining about traffic. So we're gonna put some signs up, slow kids, or please slow down, kids at play, some different things like that. And I know I mentioned to them too about putting in some speed bumps. It's something that Brad wanted to talk to when Brad's at a meeting again. I know something similar. I don't know if we do something similar like we have at Blacktail where they're removable. I don't want to put anything down permanent because I don't want to upset anybody that does snow removal. So, but it's something worth looking at if it's an issue for them. It's not a big deal. We can make some of those, put them down, and they're pretty easy to deal with. Otherwise, with McGregor, I did mention it to a couple of you. I've got a call from Game and Fish looking for. They would potentially in the future be willing to trade us that land in exchange for some wildlife management land. That would, of course, mean that we would have to buy the wildlife management land. It's really preliminary, but I'll keep you guys informed as we go. They've had a couple ideas of some wildlife management land that they would be interested in, and for us to buy and then just trade to get it. I don't know if that's what we want to do. I did mention to them about, why would we take a dam that you list as a high risk dam and needs a lot of work? Why would we take that on? And he said, well, he understand that, and maybe part of that before any of that would go down would be maybe we work together and share costs on hiring an engineer to find out what really needs to be done, if anything, right? I mean, no one knows for sure. It's just the fact that it's old and it's got trees, and then the town's right downhill. So I think that it's not something they're pushing really hard for, but something that they're open to. So we'll just keep working on that. The other thing going along with it, they had that oil spill up there on the wildlife management land. They are going to They have, there will be some way that they will be, the oil company will be fined or some type of restitution paid. It would go to Game and Fish, but they would rather they got some labor or something else out of it than money. And they would be willing to do some of that with improving the dam. So I'm gonna work with Game and Fish to find out. He's thinking somewhere in that $10,000 to $20,000 price range, minimum that we're gonna get in labor or whatever we want. So we're gonna work with him. I've already talked to Corey a little bit. He's a little familiar with the area. You know, we could use some dirt. We could use a lot of different things. So I'm gonna start working with him and get some free work done up there, which will be nice. And he's wide open to. He's whether we end up owning it or not. He's like, we want to improve it. So this is where we want all that to go. So the Game and Fish, the Game and Fish doesn't see like much they can get out of it because their land is already getting fixed. So they're glad to put it on the park.
So if we wound up with some money from the Game and Fish for improvements up there, could we not put electricity into them points on the west side? Going, you know, with a.
I don't know that we would get any money. They would have to, it would just be labor. But yes, we could maybe have them do a lot of that work.
Because that was, they should have been done when we were running the line down there to begin with.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, those couple along the road there. Yeah, those would be really nice sites if they had electricity. Yeah. So yep, definitely something I can bring up to them. I think that's a good idea.
That where we're going, I know stuff's getting moved around. Is that part of the master plan?
What's that?
To
add
have electricity in
electrical
those.
sites?
Yeah,
That's in there, yes.
cool.
Right. Yeah, right. So Coda Ray is, like I said, I can't believe how popular it's been on the weekends. It is, it's full almost every weekend. It has been, and it is, I would say about 75% of the time the same people. You know, there's a strong contingent of people from that Ray area that really take ownership in that park and really use it. But it looks good. It looks really good. Oh, that's the other thing. We had two broken courtesy docks, two broken docks at McGregor, and we got one of them's really old and maybe should be junked. It's wood planks and they're all rotten and we don't know what to do. The other one had broken wheels. We got the wheels put on and put back in. The other one we don't know what we're gonna do with. We're literally talking about it almost daily. Like it's a big, you know, those are big. It's hard to work on site, but man, they're big, and do you haul them back? And really, like, all of the boards need to be redone, the wheels need to be fixed. It almost isn't even worth it, because we haven't used it for the last 2 years. It's just kind of sat up. It's on that north side road, those same kind of by that area where we were talking about that doesn't have electricity. It's kind of there anyways, and there's not a boat landing either. There's no boat landing there. It just kind of sits out it's more like a swim area than anything. So I don't know what we're gonna do with it. I've talked to Game and Fish and they said get rid of it. They said we could use it for scrap metal if we wanted, so I'm not sure. Oh, I checked with, I skipped over Blacktail. I did follow back up with the crane company that I have booked, and they said, yes, it's on the schedule. I promise it'll get put back. We have a fishing pier at Blacktail that isn't put back. And he said, I promise it'll get back before the snow flies. So kind of been hounding him. Otherwise, I do have a typo there. I see our next meeting it says the 16th. It's scheduled to be the 18th. And I will, but I am on vacation that week, unless we feel it necessary. And I can remote in if we feel like we have to, but I'll let you guys know the week before I go. We're going, Rhonda's mom's birthday. We're going to California for a week to celebrate her mom's 70th. So, but the week before or so, I'll check in with Bo first, and then I'll check in with the rest of you. And as long as we don't have anything super pressing, we'll just plan on going right through and meeting again in November. Otherwise, anything else?
Okay. Well, I would say that we are adjourned then if there's nothing else.